G'day, welcome to another Top Cog adventure. This isn't the video I was hoping to bring you today. Today's video was meant to be a build series about the old Bush Pig, the XR200, and the work we've been doing to it. However, unfortunately, there's been a few different events going on around the town and country, and it's sort of stuffed the schedule up a wee bit, such as life. A couple of weeks ago, the town and the island was battered by really bad winds and some pretty ferocious weather, which ended up taking the power out for, well, personally here for 4 days. That was the weekend I was meant to be recording and doing all the work on the old Bush Pig and doing a bit of a build series for you. However, no power meant I couldn't charge the cameras and I couldn't record anything. Unfortunately, that was only 2 weeks before the Lake to Sea trail ride. So I sort of had to push on, get the work done to have the Bush Pig ready for the Lake to Sea trail ride. Gave it a good nudge that weekend, got most of it done, only to then find out on the Tuesday the Lake to Sea had now been cancelled. Well, it's been postponed. They're hoping to do it early next year. I hope they do. I really want to do that ride. But long story short, couldn't record the build series because of the power and had to race to do it to get to a date that now doesn't exist. So unfortunately, yeah, that sort of spoilt the video a wee bit, or the schedule a wee bit. Such is life, you can't beat up Mother Nature, and at the end of the day, they're pretty minor problems compared to what some people were dealing with. So it is what it is. What we'll do today instead is I'll run you through what I've done to the Bush Pig, and we've got a bit of a surprise at the end. Yeah, sort of Facebook Marketplace has got me in trouble again. Before we run through everything that's been done on the Bush Pig, it's 98% done. Yesterday I fired it up and just took it for a quick lap around the block to heat the oil up to change it. I remembered when I purchased it, it was very, very low geared. The guy was practicing wheelies on it. And it is 50 k's was sort of it was revving fairly high in fifth gear, sort of pushing 50 k's, so not ideal. We've ordered a new sprocket for it, and that's really the last thing we're waiting for. So with a bit of luck, next couple of weeks that sprocket will have arrived. We'll get it on and we'll go for a test ride, a bit of a shakedown on it, and we'll actually get some riding action instead of just a video of me waffling on about how I couldn't film videos of actually doing something. And here we are, in a newfound glory. The mighty Bush Pig. It's almost too tidy to be called that now. As you can see, it looks a lot fresher than the last time you've seen it. There's been a ton of work go into it, a majority of which was done over the course of one weekend. We'll start at the back. You may remember the old wheel was absolutely stuffed, the old alloy wheel. What we ended up doing was getting a XR150 steel rim. They are a farm bike over here. I think in America you guys actually use them as a road legal dual sport, but over here they're just for the old cow cockies. Found one of these wrecked for about 45 bucks for the wheel, and we relaced the XR200 hub, the original hub, onto the steel rim. Not perfect, but it's a 99% fix, and it was relatively cheap and cheerful. Chucked a new tyre on the back. We've got new chain adjusters just to tidy things up, and of course new wheel bearings. We'll put a smaller sprocket on the back. I'm not trying to make it a speed demon. We've only got 19 horsepower, so no use gearing it up too far, but being able to cruise comfortably at sort of 70-80 k's would be quite nice, just for that intermediate between tracks sort of thing. You can see tucked away under here we've built a battery box. This was all custom designed and 3D printed, and we've got a tiny little battery that sits up in there to run the electric start, and a couple of other wee bits and pieces I'll show you as we get to the front. Also the new muffler, but we'll look at that from the other side. Got a new rear guard. I wasn't going to replace the rear, but after doing the sides, and you'll see the front's all brand new, it sort of looked out of place, so I figured I'd replace it anyway, tidy it up. We have the side stand, which it never had, so it was just a lean on the trailer job, which, yeah, got pretty old pretty quick. So the old Temu pulled through again with a cheap and cheerful side stand. I was going to tidy all this welding up in here. It's pretty ugly, but it's actually strong enough, it's doing what it needs to, so just got a quick spray paint to prevent it rusting, and that will do for now. We will eventually pull everything off this, strip it to the chassis, and tidy all of that stuff up, but that's for probably next winter. New side panels, custom cut vinyl to go on it, bring it back to its original colours. The seat, as you remember, was immaculate, so we haven't had to touch that. The fuel tank got a bit of a sand and a wee bit of heat added to it just to bring that white colour back, and I looked to get the original 1992 XR200 decals. They're about $150, so I wasn't going to spend that sort of money on stickers, so I've made these custom ones just at home. They're not identical to what they should be, but they sort of encompass that retro era and the look it should be. Added in a fuel filter. When I cleaned the carburetor out, I noticed there was a wee bit of sand and junk in the bottom of the carburetor bowl, and when we pulled the air filter out, there was actually sand on both sides, and the filter wasn't actually even, well, the air filter wasn't even seated properly. So we've tidied all that up, put a new air filter in it, clean the sand out of the carburetor, and put a fuel filter in it, which was also missing. The front end, as you can see, is all brand new. New headlight cover, found a new headlight bulb, which is actually incredibly hard for these bikes. They're an old single filament bulb, and not a lot of places sell them. The ones I did find were from a local bike shop, and the box looked like it had come out in 1992. I don't think they'd probably sold any since about then either. We've got a new front mudguard, another wee sticker just to tidy things up. I pulled these fork boots off and it was horrible under there. Despite being told the front forks weren't leaking, they were very badly. So we've done new fork seals, new dust seals. The front rim just got a wee tidy up. It's got a new heavy duty tube, obviously a new tyre, new brake shoes and wheel bearings, as you'd expect while we're in there. I was going to go for the traditional Honda bush guard sort of style, but they actually only hold on at this end, and this end's left to float. So they're sort of as useful as tits on a bull. So didn't really want to spend what was a huge amount of money buying something that wasn't going to work, as well as this cheap AliExpress Temu option. Up here we've done the old electrical. We've gone a bit fancy here. We've actually added a digital dash. Now the reason for doing this is because it's been repowered by a Lifen motor. There's a few wee extras this motor has coming naturally out of the loom. It's got gear selectors, all that sort of stuff. So this was $25 on AliExpress. So I've got it more just to actually keep an eye on what things are doing, and it's a good way to get a neutral light. So that's been wired up. Not sure how accurate the speedometer will be. I doubt it will be very accurate at all. It's more just to see revs and gears. Instead of a key, we've wired up what was an old kill switch. That's our power on and off. And we've then incorporated another kill switch and an electric start button, provided with an on-off for the headlight, which is also linked in to our high beam light. That's just to sort of use what we've got. It's not hard to kick over a XR200, but we had the electronics there, we had the starter motor. All I had to do was add a battery, a start relay, and these electronics here. It's all cheap AliExpress, Temu stuff. Keep the price down, but it works. It's a nice touch, and at the end of the day, I'll be pretty grateful when I can just press the button instead of having to kick it over. Coming around to the fancy side here, we've got the new exhaust. This is from header straight back. It's actually off a CRF230F, so it's not an identical fit. You'll see I've made a bracket there and there to bridge the chassis mounting points to the exhaust mounting points. But overall, it was a pretty easy install. It looks, I reckon, really good. The colours sort of go with the bike, and it sounds really nice. It should also probably help it go a wee bit better. It's pretty open wide exhaust. So we'll ride that around for a wee bit. I think I've got the carb pretty right, but we'll just have a wee play, see what it's like. It may need jetted slightly larger. So overall, a lot of it's been changed, but a lot of it's still original. We had a real good bitzer, a real good base. The motor is strong. It just needed a bit of love. I think the combination of using what is a Chinese motor, which a lot of people may not like, personally I don't mind, with bits and bobs out of every other sort of vehicle, CRF parts, XR150 parts, we've made what would have been a bike that wasn't far off going to the scrap dealers. We've brought it back, which I really like. It's added a bit of character to it. Now the bit we've all been waiting for, eh? You want to hear it run, right? So you might have seen earlier in the video I teased the idea that I had a new project, and I do. It just so happened I was working out of town a couple of weeks ago and a bike appeared on Marketplace. It's a bit of a bike I'm a bit sentimental for. It was my second ever motorbike, was one of these, and so I've got a bit of a connection to them. It come up outside this rural town I was working in. I was there with a ute and a trailer. It was perfect timing to just go and grab it, so I did. Much to the wife's horror. Anyway, so this one is going to be a long-term project where you don't have a date, we have to have it ready, like the XR200. It's a big project, there's a lot of work involved in this one, but I'm really looking forward to it, and it's going to be a pretty cool bike when it's all done. So here we go. The new project. There we have it. A 1988 GSXR 250. One of the original 4-cylinder hyper bikes, I'll call it. 17,000 RPM, 250cc, just a weapon. Like I said, I had one of these as my second ever motorbike. It was really, truly what got me into motorcycle riding. Prior to that, my first bike, I loved it, but it was transport. It was fun, it was transport. I got this, and this really kicked off the passion for motorbikes. As you can see, it is rough as hell. It needs a lot of love, it needs a lot of fairings. It's going to be a big project, but once it's done, there's not many of these in mint condition around anymore. Let's have a better look. Okay, like I said, it is desperately in need of some love. Unfortunately, the guy seems to have covered it. Just about any sticker they were willing to give away. Fortunately, that actually sums up who I probably got it from. Certain sort of character you can possibly imagine. Anyway, a lot of it's toast. This front fairing, windscreen, it's poked. I mean, a lovely job with the cable ties here. Not the look we're going for. That front hugger is toast. This fairing here, it's got a wee crack in it, but it's salvageable. Same with the fuel tank. It needs a respray, but it's actually in really good condition. The front part of the seat is gone. We'll replace that. The rear one just needs reupholstered. Unfortunately, just about everything on this bike is going to need some form of love. The fairings, everything like that, we've got second-hand ones. I was going to say aftermarket. They're not. They're genuine. You can't get aftermarket fairings for these. We've got some second-hand ones coming in better condition. They're still going to need all resprayed. The rims are all going to need resprayed. All of the chassis will probably get stripped, repainted. Everything up here, even your aluminium, needs sort of buffed back and shined. It's just got that little layer of corrosion on it. Cracked wing mirrors need fixed. Carburetors will need rebuilt, tuned. The top end, we're going to compression test it, see where we're looking at, but I'm guessing at minimum we're going to have to re-shim it, and probably new valve guide seals, possibly rings and pistons while we're in there. We'll just see how it goes. New exhaust. This is just the factory one. It sounds good, but let's face it, these bikes sound incredible when they're at full noise. So we'll put a nice aftermarket Yoshimura or something like that on it to really truly get it screaming. It does run as it is now. I've taken it up and down the street a couple of times. It's pretty lumpy. It's running with a bit of choke on. It's not overly happy. A lot of it, I'd say, is down to carb work, but these things are also shocking for wearing valve shims, and you sort of got to keep them up to it pretty regularly, so it wouldn't surprise me if they are out. We'll see if it's going to show us any love today. Oh, so close. Pretty sure it's only running on 3 at the moment. It seems to be more of a carb issue. Smell that 90s horsepower. It's always good hearing it run, but as you can see, there's a lot to be done. So there we go, the new project. It's not going to be an overnight sort of thing. It's going to take quite a while to get this thing tidied up. It's a long-term project, but we're going to do a full restoration and get it looking perfect. It's going to be a beautiful bike by the time it's done. Sorry, it's been a bit of a nothing video, just me waffling, but Mother Nature had different ideas to me when it came to what I was going to film. But thanks for watching, and hopefully the next one we're out test riding that XR or something a bit more exciting, doing a wheelie, something cool. Cheers for watching, and if you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.